SSOT. Anyone? Single source of truth. In most companies, there will be a single source of truth. It's an information systems document. I have spent my whole life creating SSOTs. But I didn't know that's what they were called until 2 years ago when I stepped into the ed tech space. Prior to that, I called them Bibles. And this started about 20 years ago when I was the assistant director of education at a Broadway theater, and I was walking with the director of education at that same theater, literally across Broadway, and he said, you know, if we got hit by a bus right now, the education department would come to a complete standstill. And I said, I think if we got hit by a bus right now, there'd be bigger issues than the education department, but I take your meaning. And so the next day when I got to work on the education department Bible. Now, some people would call this a manual or SOP, standard operating procedures. We thought it was funny, two secular Jews in New York City, to call it the education department Bible. So I then spent the next 20 years of my career claiming this as my special skill. It was on my cover letter. I would say, there's someone in here who has seen my cover letter. Someone in here has probably worked with me. And what I do is I come in and I say, I will create policies where there aren't any, or write down policies where there are, but nobody seems to know what they are, right? That's my special skill, creating a single source of truth. But the fact is, that is much easier to do at work than it is in life. I've just completed writing a 70,000-word draft of a memoir about my complicated father, our complicated relationship, and his unexplained death. And when you're a memoir writer, unless there are two of you in the same family, and God help you if there are, but when you're a memoir writer, you get to make the single source of truth for your family. And it's sort of like live storytelling. It's like true to the best of your memory, except the minute that book is on the shelf, that is your family's truth, for better or worse. And I take this role very seriously. So we've heard about the hamburger incident. I'm going to tell you about the shrimp incident. When I was a kid, I got a piece of a shrimp shell, that sort of clear cartilage part, lodged in my throat. And as I was turning blue at the dining room table, my mom shuttles me into the powder room, puts me in front of the toilet, and starts smacking me on the back. And at this moment, my dad, who had been running late that night, walked in the house and found this situation happening. He continued past the powder room, past the dining room, into the kitchen. He took out of the utensil drawer a skewer, metal. You've seen it maybe for grilling. It has a round hook on one end and a really sharp point on the other end. He walks back into the powder room. He looks at me, crouches down, puts his hand behind my back, probably his left hand, and said, I'm going to make a hole right here so you can breathe. It's going to be fine. And he pulls back what I think was probably a 12-inch long metal skewer. I take one look at him, my whole body convulses, and the shrimp shell goes flying out of my mouth and gets stuck on his very big 1980s glasses. And I live. So here's the thing. My mom has no memory of this happening. My brother, who claims to remember absolutely none of our childhood, of course, doesn't remember this happening. And my father is dead. So you might be thinking, well, but Jamie, you remember it happening. It must have happened. But what I haven't yet told you is that my father was a malignant narcissist who would lie about anything and everything if it made him look good. So as far as I know, my father created this story, implanted that memory in my head, because how could someone love anyone more than someone who was willing to do an unsanctioned, untrained, not sterile tracheotomy to save their daughter's life. So did it happen? I don't know. But it is in my memoir. And I did finally figure out why, for the 20 years of my career, I've been chasing a single source of truth. And it's because I know how difficult it is to live without one. Thank you.